What's up, guys? This is Carrie Tello, and welcome to the Kick Your Boots Off podcast. Today, I have my friend Valerie on, aka Mama Folk, aka Moms on Film. She spent almost a decade of her life dedicated to documenting weddings and couples. She's got a lot of wisdom in that area, as well as building her following on Instagram as a content creator and model representing the Latina community. She is amazing at networking. That's like one of her biggest strengths. And she's just such a girl boss, all while simultaneously being an incredible wife and mother to two. So we got a really good episode for y'all, and let's get into it. Okay, what's up, guys? This is Carrie Tello. Welcome to the Kick Your Boots Off podcast. Today I have my lovely amiga,
yes.
Cheesemaker queen, style icon.
Stop.
She's a legend. Valerie Metz is here to chat with us.
Hello, everyone.
Yay, hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for taking the time out of your busy ass schedule to hang out with me.
I was laying in bed on TikTok right before this, so I'm really not as busy as
Good.
I maybe seem to be.
So when I was thinking about this podcast, and obviously you are like an OG mentor to me.
Oh.
So
thanks.
I wanted to like kind of share like how we met and like what our journey was when we first started working together.
Yeah.
And then I want to hear your whole journey, like with photo and just like how you got into content creation and like what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And just like I want to hear the whole like transition, because I feel like you like influenced me so much in the beginning of me starting this, which obviously like it's still very fresh. Yeah. But I like love to hear where you're at now and like just like all the growth you've gone through in the last couple of years, because there's been some good shit, man.
I know, good shit and bad shit, but overall good.
Yeah. Well, so Val and I met because I
stalked me.
I stalked her super hard.
Well, we had a connection, a Peruvian connection.
Yes,
so.
My husband is Peruvian. So we had just like gotten engaged. He proposed in Peru. And then I got home and literally like found you really quick after we got home from that trip and saw you posting about Peru.
Crazy.
And I was like, are you Peruvian? And I just like slid into the DMs and I'm like, this chick's Peruvian. I can feel it. And she's like, yeah. Creeper.
I know. You're a creeper. You messaged me, right?
No, I know. So I'm the creeper.
You are a creeper, but it's okay. I love it.
Here we are. Anyways, so I DM'd Val. I slid into the DMs and I was like, be my friend, please.
I know. And we met at a friend's wedding that I was shooting.
That's right, Melissa and Thomas.
So that was fun because we like had already talked, and then we got to meet each other in real life, and we're like, oh my gosh,
and
it was so
on
fun.
The dance floor together.
On the dance floor, of course, that's so on brand for us.
Yeah, that's how it has to be.
Yeah,
have to be on the dance floor. There's no questions. It only makes sense.
I know.
So we were at that, and then we just started hanging out.
Yeah,
and I was like, can you guys like have us over for dinner or something?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Because I was like, I want to hear more about the dynamic of like Zach and you.
Yes.
Zach is Val's husband.
Yeah.
And he's a white boy. And I'm a white girl. And I have my Peruvian husband. And just the dynamic, I was like really excited to like connect on that sense. And
we connected a lot on like family and cultural differences, because like you and Zach are the same, and I feel like me and Eric are the same, and
the so family drama,
lack of boundaries, you know.
The classic things. But and then I feel like literally since then, like some big things that I've learned from you are like very much have to do with like networking and like the way that you connect with people and like are so secure in yourself and your friendships to like be able to be like, oh, this person would get along really well with this person. And you just have like such a gift in that way. So I feel like I want to talk about networking.
Yeah.
I want to talk about all the things.
All the things.
So please, like, okay, you can have the floor now. Introduce yourself. What do you do? Who are you?
Yeah.
Give us your journey.
So I am Valerie, aka Mama Folk, or Moms on Film, if you are a client. I professionally photographed weddings for 9 years, and then during COVID, I was forced to not shoot because the world shut down. And when the world opened back up, I was like, wait, I actually love having my weekends open and like not editing. So that's kind of when like the idea of transitioning to something else kind of like took into place, because I had just had a baby at the time, my second one, and I was just craving that family time. And I don't want to like, and I always say this to you, I'm like, I never want to discourage you with like my constant talk of like burning out in the wedding industry. But then too, I think like 9 years is actually a long time. And I think like in any other type of like normal job, that would be like a normal time frame to be like, you know what, I'm going to look into something. I'm going to apply, interview other jobs. And so I was just like reflecting a lot, talking to a lot of people who like know me well. And I was just like, my heart's not in it anymore. And the biggest reason was because of time. I just wanted that time with my family. I wanted flexibility. I'm getting older, so I feel like my energy just like isn't there to like grind and hustle anymore. And so at the same time, I was photographing my own journey with like pregnancy and motherhood on film. And film was just really cool. I was really inspired by like my mom's photos of when she was younger. She was a younger mom too. And she just looked like so like badass at like 24-year-old, like holding a baby and stuff. And I was like, dang, like this is so sick. And I mean, you get it, you shoot film, like just like the feeling you get looking at film photographs is just not the same as digital. It's timeless, it's nostalgic. And so I kind of wanted to create that experience that I had looking at my mom's photos, but with other clients. And so I kind of had this like whole like, okay, I don't want to quit photography because I will probably forever do photography. I just can't do weddings for a long time anymore. And so I started like just putting feelers out there and was just like, do any moms want to shoot any like pregnant women? And at the time I had a few friends who were pregnant. They let me experiment on them. And then I just felt like this like creative outlet just like bloom from that. And it was something that I had a hard time with weddings, where like, I mean, you kind of get with weddings, you're a little bit limited on how creative you want to be because you don't get to pick the venue, you don't get to pick the time of the day they get married or when to take photos. And sometimes there's just a lot of emotions that go into weddings. And so I just couldn't handle that pressure anymore. And I just wanted an outlet for more creativity to move at my own pace. And so last year, our last wedding together? I hired you in 2021, I think.
Yeah, it was October 2021.
Yeah, I hired Kari as my intern, for those who don't know. And my husband and I, he used to shoot with me, and during that time, it just like, we were just both feeling like way too busy. So I was like, okay, I'll hire an intern. We're going to have this team. At the idea, I was like, we'll just build a team and that'll help me out. And then Kari, I feel like I tricked you. I like hired her on. She's like,
so tricked
I'm going to love to like work under you. Like, where's this going to go? And then like a few months later, I was like, yeah, so I'm quitting. But I think that was like so.
You got me good.
I gotcha. But I think that was so good because like, I mean, you already had that drive in you and you're so incredibly talented. I feel like the timing just worked out perfectly with being like, you know what, you're ready to do this on your own, you need to do it.
It was God's like perfect timing.
It
seriously.
Literally was. And I'm just like so amazed in like a good way with you right now. I'm just like, she is killing it. Like you're doing it every weekend. And that's great and exhausting, and you're a hard worker and it's like paying off, you know. So
thanks.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready for the encouragement.
Oh my gosh,
Mom.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, yeah, our last wedding together was last year. And then I have been doing content creation and Moms on Film, like, full time. So, yeah.
And doing art shows.
And hosting art shows. I do a lot of community events.
Modeling always.
Modeling. I hate talking about that, but modeling.
But you're such a hottie.
Oh, thanks.
She's a model. She's a model. She's multifaceted.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, so, okay, that whole, like, process of starting and, like, just, like, even reaching out to you to shoot film with you was so scary. And I literally remember Michelle and Katie, shout out. Like, both of them were like, Kari, you shoot film. Like, why don't you just...
Did they tell you to reach out to me? I had no idea.
Because
so
you
cute.
had literally just posted, like, looking for someone that shoots film to, like, second shoot, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I have never shot a wedding. I don't even know what that would be like. That's, like, scary to think about. And Michelle was like, just do it. You know how to shoot film. Like, that's all she wants is someone that's, like, confident with film.
Right.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And you were so, like... Yeah, dude. Like,
I got so many messages that day. I was overwhelmed, but I saw yours, and a lot of the messages were from random people, which, like, that could have been a cool experience to, like, you know, have someone I didn't know. But, like, literally when the second you messaged me, I was like, yes, immediate yes. I don't even care. Like, because I just knew we vibed well.
We haven't really talked about this.
I know, this is kind of cute.
It just happened.
Really cute. But I was like an immediate yes, like, you're hired, like, would love to work with you. And I kind of threw you into your first wedding. I didn't. It was so funny. So was that Geneva and Elliot's wedding? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it was like a different type of wedding than a normal wedding.
Way different.
But I felt like such a bad boss because you were like, so what should we shoot next? And I, like, was not giving you any direction. I was just like, sorry. But that was fine.
But it was so epic.
Yeah.
And that's, like, I think why I, like, fell in love with it so fast, because it was, like, the wedding itself was so chill and just, like, so slow and intentional and, like,
it was small too,
super intimate. Yeah, it was so cool. And then, like, also just the way that you were going about shooting it was so relaxed and just like documentary style.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is literally the coolest job ever. Like, ever.
Yeah.
And then it was like, cool, another cool wedding. We, like, went to Vegas.
We went, that was sick. That was so fun.
For the Little White Chapel wedding.
Yeah.
And they had a sick Airbnb that they got ready at, and, like, just the coolest outfits. That was so epic. And then the one in Ojai.
Yeah.
So gorgeous.
Yeah.
Literally, like, the coolest weddings right off the bat.
I know. It really is so cool to, like, be that person hired to, like, be in charge of someone's, like, most precious memories, which is a lot of freaking pressure, but it's also really cool. Like, the feeling of it is like, wow, like, I was hired to do this, you know. It's very humbling. So
okay, something in regards to weddings that I wanted to bring up and remind you of is, I don't know if you did this intentionally, but every single wedding that we shot together, I remember taking a mental note being like, Val's doing this so well, I need to do this at all of my weddings too. You always, during golden hour portraits, would pull the couple aside and literally, like, put your hands on both of them and be like, I just want to remind you guys, this is, like, the only time that you will get just the two of you. And, like, you were so encouraging and just, like, I feel like we're so good at, like, bringing them back down to earth for a second to, like, be present with each other. And I feel like that seriously makes the portraits.
Yes. Yeah. It's
like,
just kind of like
big time.
Like a shift in focus, you know?
Yes.
It's like, thank you. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, like, how did that idea even come up, or, like, just some other things that you would want to share in regards to, like, your people skills?
Yeah.
Like, you just, like, you're so intentional with people, and I feel like when clients can trust you, that makes such a huge difference in the photos, like, how the photos look, because they're, like, putting all their trust in you.
For sure. Yeah. No, but that's so
I just
want
to hear more about
your
process.
Yeah. So I feel like that habit kind of started, Zach was shooting with me at the time, my husband. We were hired to shoot an NFL player's wedding, Baker Mayfield.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so there were, like, 400 people there, and, like, they hired, like, 4 videographers, 4 different photographers. It was just, like, absolutely insane. And the whole thing felt like a production, honestly, because he's a celebrity, I guess you could say. And so I had this moment where we like pulled him out, and I just like, I don't know what came over me, and I was also like in the moment kind of like hesitant to say, because I was thinking like, who am I to be like telling an NFL player this, you know? But I just like had a moment. I could tell, like, I was just watching before I pulled them, and there were like 5 different people talking to them, wedding planner, blah, blah, do this, do that, you need to do this at this time, you have 5 minutes to do this. And I was just like, dang, this is like so overwhelming. Like, this is a wedding, it's not a production. And I feel like it feels like a production more than a wedding. So I went to go take a few photos of them before the ceremony. So it actually wasn't at golden hour, I think it was before ceremony, after their first look. And then I just like pulled him and his wife aside, and I was just like, hey, I just like want to like remind you that like it's your wedding day, and I want to give you guys like just a few minutes to like take some breaths and just like soak up this moment, because like you're not going to be alone for the rest of the day, and like I want you guys to just be like, to just remember that this is your wedding. And they were just like, whoa. And that was just a really cool experience, because I was like, what possessed me to say that? Like, that was weird. But it's just like one of those things you feel in your gut and you feel like you have to say. And I think from then on, I was like, that's actually a reminder for every wedding. Like, whether it's 400 people or 20 people, that's just like a nice reminder to have. I feel like it just like, I don't know, brings in like some focus in the moment, and like it reminds you to be more present. So yeah, thanks for taking note of that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was so special. I remember you doing it specifically at Kevin and Reagan's wedding.
Yes, yeah.
And I was like just the way that they responded to it, I was like, they needed to hear that.
Yes,
like sometimes people just need to be like put in check for a sec and like
reminded. Or they need that validation. Like, oh, I don't have to like
it's
talk
not a
to everyone
performance
the whole time.
Yeah, your wedding day is not a performance, guys.
Yeah.
Good reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I know we're like, you're not a wedding photographer anymore, but I feel like just in regards to like business in general, I like just want to hear like if you have any tips on like networking, because I feel like that is a huge strength of yours.
Thank you.
You are just so good at like seeing people and seeing their talents and their gifts and like connecting them with other people that they would vibe with. So I just want to hear, like, do you have any, like, how has networking affected your career?
Yeah.
Or like, do you have tips for people that are just like little shy beans that don't like talking to people?
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely pros and cons to networking. I feel like in the beginning, a huge insecurity of mine with photography, and this was like back in like 2015, 2016, when like Insta meets were cool and like getting coffee with like a group of photographers was cool, and now it's like we don't have time for that. But I feel like I was a lot younger back then when that happened, so I was a little naive, but I allowed myself to get used and abused by so many people, because and like, this is not just like photographers, but like models and like influencers, or at the time were bloggers. They needed like 1 million photos for their blog, and I felt like I constantly got messages like, hey, do you want to like meet up for coffee? And then I would leave feeling so used. Like, I would leave feeling like, oh my gosh, I just like offered to like gift them a free photo, not even gift, but to like give them a free photo shoot so that they could use and whatever. It's just kind of like slimy. Like, it felt like the world and the industry can be super competitive if like people are in it for the wrong reasons. So I feel like it took those experiences to like get me to like kind of be like, okay, like boundaries are good. If I feel icky about something, I can say no to that. Like, I have the freedom to say no. And so with that experience, I feel like I just went with my gut. Like, if I immediately vibed with someone, if the energy was there, if I could tell that their motives and intentions were pure, then it was very easy for me to like network and be like, yeah, we should collaborate. And like, in my brain, I feel like I just love collaborating with people, whether it's like work related or like a girls' night or a movie night. I'm like, does anyone want to watch a movie at my house? Like, I just love to bring people together and to like share an experience with. And And so I feel like I just started going with my gut. I really tried to be like, okay, what are their intentions? And then as far as like good things that came from those, I mean, I met you through like, you know, a random like Instagram message, and I immediately felt like your message was so intentional. Like it wasn't like, hi, I've never talked to you before. Here's a list of questions that I have for photography. It's like, you know, we're in this together. Like we want to like be more intentional about our stories and our experiences. And I think the biggest thing is like when you stay true to yourself and your style, you're able to collaborate well with people. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't stay true, you're going to turn into whoever you're talking to, and it's not going to be a reflection of who you are deep down inside.
Banger. That's so good. That's so funny. That's actually like very much what I wanted to talk about next too.
Oh, really?
And I wanted to like kind of like on that same note, talk about like your personal branding and how like you've built this brand for yourself of Mama Folk. Like when did that journey start? And like also, do you feel like you've like changed and like gone through different seasons with it, or like I want to hear all about that because I feel like legit what you just said, like when you're secure in yourself, like that's when the best things are gonna happen
for sure,
and you're like able to create those connections with people genuinely from a place of like, no, I just want to like encourage you because I'm like okay with where I'm at right now, and I'm okay in my own skin. I don't feel the need to like copy yours.
And I feel like what you put out there, you're gonna attract people who are into that. So it's gonna be a natural response if you're staying true to who you are and your style. You're gonna throw that out there. People are gonna be attracted to that, and the dynamic is gonna be so much different than like trying to fit into like what's currently trendy and then not feeling like yourself, and then like attracting people who like want that, and then you can't deliver it at your best because it's not you. So
totally.
So which style do you want me to talk about?
Well, I feel like just in general, like something that I feel like I'm working on is like I want to be as consistent as possible, but still like with the room to like grow in my grow into myself, like grow into my own like identity as a photographer and like wedding photographer in general. Like I don't know, I feel like your personal branding like just for Mama Folk is it's 100% Valerie Metz. Like it is 100% you like to the core. So I feel like just like, do you have any like tips, or like do you have things looking back on your journey of content creating that you're like, this was like a big moment for me in like finding my style?
I mean, I think it's like very natural for like every creative person to have like a different type of phase or like something they went through. You know, I had an indie phase like 10 years ago, and I think it's very natural to do that, but you can still be yourself through that, if that makes sense. But I feel like as far as like my content creation stuff, I feel like it's so different than like a photography brand, because I don't have to like, with photography you have to be like selling your work to get hired, and like for content creation I just have to be a person, and then brands will be like, oh, okay, like she's fun, or she's like passionate about this or whatever. So I feel like it's almost easier to like brand myself as a content creator versus as a photographer. And it's almost like brands hire you to be like, I don't know, like I guess the model or like the filler or something. It's different than photography where like, you know, you're like, please hire me. Like I promise I'm like gonna make your wedding day amazing.
But like at the end of the day, like each individual person is what makes their brand what it is.
Right.
Like regardless of if you're posting for like brands or if you're posting to get hired for, like either way you're like kind of selling yourself.
For sure. At some point, it's so true. You know? I feel like I split my accounts back in, I think, 2018, because at that point I was getting work with brands, and I was like, okay, this feels kind of weird to be like posting pictures from weddings and then posting pictures of like me doing a sponsored post or whatever. So I ended up splitting, and I just wanted to have the freedom to like post whatever I wanted to, and not feeling like, oh my gosh, are my clients gonna get like annoyed if they see me too much? Like, would they rather just see my photos? So I separated both of them, which I think that move is what started my content creation career. My name was already like in the world with brands just because I was hired as like an on-set photographer for brands. And then once I had kids, I think people were like, or brands were like, hey, like we should hire her to model. And then during that same year, I just got really confident in my skin as like a Latina girl. And I was like, wait, this is who I am, because for so long, and that's a whole nother conversation, but for so long I felt like I couldn't embrace that around everyone else, because it just felt awkward, you know, or like certain comments were made about like my name or whatever. And so 2018, I think, is like when I was like, no, like this is who I am. I like this style of music. I can speak Spanish. Like I have all these things about me, and like I want to share that with the world and attract people who are into that. And so I feel like throughout the years, I've just gained an amazing following of super supportive Latina queens.
Yes,
and also like other people who are like, I don't follow enough diverse content creators. I'm going to follow you. And that kind of sounds like, I don't know, like a pity, like, oh, I'll just follow you because I have to. But I think it, like, with the right motives, that's actually a good thing. Like, we should be expanding who we're following. But anyways, that's like a whole nother conversation. So I feel like allowing to be myself comfortable with that allowed me to like be who I am.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of brands, especially during COVID, I think that was when a lot of brands were like reflecting like, what kind of people are we working with? Who are we hiring? What kind of faces are representing us? And that's when I started getting a lot of work. And so, yeah, it was just like cool. And I think the most refreshing thing that I do, and it's not always, like I definitely have seasons where I'm like, oh, I'm in my flop era or something, or like I'm not relatable anymore, which I feel like we all go through. But I try to always, like, if I'm posting, I'm like, this is for me. It's not to like gain something out of anyone. Like, this is just because I'm having fun with it. I always look at it, I'm like, this is fun, and it's great that I get to make money off of this, but it's also just like fun for me to like share this with the world. So yeah,
totally. So okay, I want to also talk about like niching down to shooting motherhood, and like obviously part of your story is like becoming a mom, which you like just mentioned, and I feel like I say this to all my mom friends. I'm nowhere near becoming a mother right now.
Yeah, take your time.
But I love hearing about motherhood stories and just like how it changes your life so like beautifully and drastically all at once.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear like how that affected your like creative outlet and like how it changed your niche.
Yeah, so I feel like a common thing that I kept hearing before I became a mom was like moms who used to have an outlet, and they're like, oh, I don't do that anymore because I'm a mom. And that was something that freaked me out before I had kids. I was like, well, I don't want to lose myself. Like, and if it were up to me, I would have put off the idea of having kids for so long, but then we got pregnant on accident, and I was like, well, can't do anything about that. So, I think like already knowing that about myself before the idea of kids, I was like, okay, I don't want to lose my art. I honestly enjoy working. It's so much fun. Like I love working because my job is like so much fun. It's not like a 9 to 5 where I'm like bound to a computer. I mean, kind of with editing, but like, I don't know. I can be my own boss. Like you're creating. I can make my own schedule. I'm creating. And so, I feel like after I had kids, that almost pushed me even more to keep pursuing this outlet and this job, because I was just so scared of the idea of like, I'm going to quit everything I love once I become a mom. And for me, like identity is like it has so many different meanings to me. Like for me, I'm like, identity isn't one thing. Like I'm not just a mom. I'm also a photographer. I'm a friend. I'm a playlist maker. In my head, I think I'm a DJ.
You're a DJ.
I'm a thrifter. Like I have all these other things and like pieces of me that isn't just like about motherhood. And I think, and that's why I started, a part of the reason why I started Moms on Film is to inspire and give other moms that outlet too. Like it doesn't have to be photography, but whatever feels refreshing and life-giving to them. I'm like, your life cannot be your kid 24/7. You know, it's just like, I don't think it's like, it's definitely not healthy for myself. Like, if I am burnt out by something, I'm just gonna like be very angry and resentful. And so like being a step ahead and being like, I'm gonna do these other things that like give me life is like allows me to like not get to that point where I'm like miserable in motherhood. So
yeah.
And I've definitely had hard days, and I've definitely had seasons that feel more work heavy or more mom heavy, but they're at an age right now, they're both in school full time, and it's like kind of weird. I'm like, whoa, like kind of empty nester. Like I don't have kids until 3:00 in the house, and I can like work on what I want. It's so nice because by the time they come home, I'm like, I've done everything I've needed to do. Like, you have my full attention now. So yeah, I want to inspire moms to like just pursue that thing that even if it's newer and they are scared of like making the time for it, I just want them to like feel confident, like give it a try, like go and do something that separates you from being a mom.
Yeah, so. That's so good.
Yeah.
So encouraging. And just in general, the way that you capture motherhood is so beautiful.
Thanks.
You're such an artiste.
Thanks. I love hearing that.
I feel like another thing that I really want, I'm like so all over the place because when I think about you, there are like 25 million different things that I'm like, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. We got to talk about this too. But I like really wanted to talk about like community too. And like, I guess kind of like I'm jumping all over the place here, but like going back to like the networking topic, I feel like just like, okay, you're good at networking. We covered that. And something that like comes along with that is having community in like the creative space.
Yeah.
And I feel like my whole like heart behind this like podcast is like simply because I literally have this like list of people that inspire me creatively and they're like good friends too.
Yeah.
So I just like, I want to hear your thoughts on like how community has like shaped and like maybe in good ways and bad ways, which like I feel like you touched on a little bit. Like there have been seasons where it's like the wedding photography community can be really toxic and like very competitive. Yeah. But I also feel like it just comes from a place of like all of us kind of realizing like there are more than enough clients to go around. Like there's no reason for us to feel that like competitive, like gatekeepy, like weirdness, you know? But I just want to hear if you have any like tips for building community and like, I don't know, just growing together with community.
I mean, I feel like social media is like probably the biggest thing. That's just how we meet people these days. And I feel like where we live specifically in Orange County or like Costa Mesa, like there are a lot of great creatives out there who are so sweet and encouraging. And so I feel like you can walk into a coffee shop and immediately network with like 3 other people. Like I've met a few random photographers just from like editing at a table and then being like, hey, are you a photographer? I'm like, yeah. And then we just like start talking. And I feel like that doesn't exist anywhere else. I don't know. It's like something special about this area that we live in. And so I feel like if you don't have that, I feel like social media is like the next thing. Just like messaging people, getting to know them first instead of being like, tell me about work. Like, I think it's just like really sweet and humbling to be like, to know about the person behind the brand first. It allows like a deeper connection.
And a sense of trust.
And a sense of trust, for sure. And so, and I feel like events are amazing. Like, I've networked and met so many people through events. Like, something that even inspired me to throw this art show over the summer was because I went to an art show at the same place where I hosted mine. And it was so cool to see how many creatives were there. I met, like, a few random like fashion photographers, even though that's like not what I do, but I was like, this is just still so cool. And that night, Cambry and I, because we went together, we were like, should we just like have an art show in the same place? Like, and then we messaged the girl, met with her, and we're like, hey, you inspired us that night, bringing people in together. Can like, do you care if we do the same but like kind of make it different? Because it was more like surf related and fashion related, and for us we were just craving, like, the biggest theme for our art show was like connection and community, and like 200 people came.
Hell yeah.
It was insane. Like,
I was shooting a wedding.
I
was
know,
really
so
sad.
Ugh, it was such a good night though, and
I'm
I got
still
to
depressed.
meet,
It's fine.
I got to meet like so many cool people. So I think just like going to events, or in your area if there aren't any events, like be the one.
Be the one.
Be the one. Go to an event space, find a few other people who are in the same industry as you, or who, if they do something different, like for our art show, we didn't have only photographers. We had a writer, we had 2 painters, a sculptor, things like that. And so just like people who maybe fall under the same category, and just like be like, we should do this. And then just brainstorm together, come up with a vision, a mood board, and then the rest just flows organically when you have the right people. So yeah, I feel like just going on social media, finding those people, and then just
put it together.
Just do it.
Do the thing. Do you have any thoughts on like content days? And like, did you ever go to a content day?
What's a content day?
Or like a styled shoot?
Oh,
or like,
for like
where
weddings?
you like buy a ticket and go to like
like a workshop,
a workshop. Yeah.
Sure. I am very stubborn. I don't like don't tell me what to do. No, I just like never. First, I'm sure I could have learned a lot from going to workshops, especially back in the day when I first started my business. I went to one when I was living in the Midwest, but it wasn't a styled shoot. It was more of like, let's bring other photographers together, and like we talked and had like deep questions, and it was really cool. Like was
it like more education vibes? Like
it was
someone's teaching?
It wasn't even like teaching. It was just like the couple that did the workshop, they're called The Imaginative, and they're amazing. Like such a good documentary vibe to their photos. They just wanted to bring other photographers together, and they just like had a list of questions, and then we went out and like photographed each other rather than like a couple.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was really cool, and I almost prefer that because like Zach and I have modeled for a workshop as like a bride and groom, and it felt chaotic just having like all the cameras like do and then people trying to get like the shot
yelling at you to like.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was really
like
sweet.
this.
It was actually a good experience, but I felt bad more for the photographers who were shooting, because like I could tell they all wanted to get their own shots, and it's just kind of hard in that moment when you only have like 10 minutes to do it. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think there's a lot to learn, but I also think that the best way to learn is by experience. Because
so
everyone
goes second shoot.
Everyone goes second shoot. Or just shoot in general, like be with people. I feel like being a photographer, you have to be really good with people because you're directing them, especially when you're shooting weddings. Like these people aren't professional models. It's your job to make them feel comfortable, and so you have to have like a good people connection in order to make that happen. So
yeah. Did you ever do any like photo education other than like didn't we both quit our photo class? Or was
yeah, I took a film photo class. I failed.
And we both failed.
We're dumb. Look at us now though.
Yeah, no, I literally withdrew from my photo class.
Oh shoot.
Because the teacher gave me, I talked about this in my first episode. The teacher gave me an 89% and didn't give me any feedback as to why I didn't just get an A.
Oh, that's
And I was
lame.
so pissed. I was like, fuck you, I'm out of here.
Oh, so you withdrew out of defiance.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
that
failed
sounds
yours,
like Carrie. I failed mine, yeah. But it's because I was literally getting married like 2 weeks later. I didn't show up to the final. It wasn't because like my work was like terrible. Like the teacher was actually really good about being like, just shoot whatever you feel inspired by. But I just didn't show up to the final because I'm like, I'm 20 years old and I'm planning a wedding and I don't have time for this. And so it's funny that I failed it, but also it's not because I was like, quote, a bad photographer or anything. And I knew that. It's just like kind of a funny story. No, and I dropped out of college after that, so I'm just kind of like, whatever. But yeah, other than that, I haven't taken any type of like educational thing. Again, I'm very like, I don't know what it is, like stubborn with like, don't tell me how to do things. Like I like to figure things out on my own, which is not smart. I do not recommend that to anyone because it just adds a lot. You have to be okay with failure, and I'm till this day not okay with failure, but I definitely had experiences where I'm like, okay, that wasn't a good experience, but like you learn from this and you grow. So
ooh, okay, can we get into some of that? Do you have any off the top of your head that you are like, yeah, that was a huge fuck up?
I think it's more technical things, like not backing up my photos.
See, this is good. This is good for us to cover.
So yes,
back that shit
back it up 2 to 3 places at least, because I only had it on like my hard drive in my computer, and then my computer crashed and I lost a wedding.
Just on your computer?
Yeah.
Because
we went to Hawaii.
Was this forever ago?
This was a long time ago.
I'm sure this is like...
oh my gosh, I'm still traumatized from this. I'm like...
That's trauma you don't get over, though.
I know.
That's like the worst feeling in the world.
It sucks, because had I known, I should back these photos up in another place. Like, of course I would have done that. Why wouldn't I have? So I feel like that was just a weird thing that I didn't know that people did, and that was like my 3rd year into photography. And so again, I'm very bad with technology. I was telling you guys this. I'm like, I'm a dummy. So like I didn't know that hard drives were even a thing. So anyways, that's the biggest piece of advice. Back up your photos.
Multiple hard drives.
Was it us that we were talking about not formatting your cards either until you've already delivered photos?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so save your memory cards up until the gallery is delivered.
Dual shoot.
Save the memory cards. Go buy more if you're out.
Just get more
It's
memory
not
cards.
worth deleting and, what's it called?
Formatting?
Formatting, there you go. I was like, what's the it's not worth going through that. And so, yeah, just don't touch your memory cards until galleries have been sent and saved. Until you get a notification that says, so-and-so saved the gallery. Cool.
Then you can delete
can delete them, which is like, that's all I'm shooting film. This is too stressful for me.
Yeah.
I can't handle this.
Straight up.
But
do you save all your negatives?
not all of them.
Because I feel like
I should. Now that we're talking about backing things up, Maybe we should. I feel like it's different though, because I don't shoot weddings and there's way less pressure.
Yeah, that's true.
Weddings are different. Weddings like you have to almost have those photos forever.
I'm like,
I know. So
nervous.
We're all anxious now. Like,
I literally dual shoot. I keep my SD cards till the gallery's been delivered.
Perfect.
I'm literally fine.
You're doing
but I'm
it,
like, ugh.
It's still scary. It's just a lot of pressure.
Stressful.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't, in the moment, I genuinely am just like, la-di-da-di-da. Happy wedding day, guys.
Yeah.
I don't think about it. And then I'm like delivering a gallery and I'm like, oh, I'm literally the sole human that has had access to your wedding photos.
Yeah.
I have the power.
You have the power.
Psychopaths.
Yeah. I feel like that's like the biggest thing though. Everything else educational, like you'll learn your own style the more you shoot. You'll learn what you like, what you don't like. You'll be open to certain trends. Like I feel like a lot of people now are shooting film and that wasn't a thing a few years ago. So like
so lame.
Yeah.
Everyone hop off. This is our train.
This is my thing. No one else is allowed to shoot film.
Me thinking I'm so original when I do you remember when I was first like DMing you about starting Kari Shoots Film account? I'm like, is that so lame to name myself Kari Shoots Film?
No.
Right at the peak of everyone shooting film.
I mean, people say they shoot film, but they use a point and shoot, and that really...
Wah, wah.
No, I actually...
So judgy.
We're so judgy. No. I love that everyone's shooting film. I think it's so sweet and special, and I want to come out with a book that's like, well, a Moms on Film book that I'm still... that's a whole other thing, the book. But I also want to do a personal book of my own film photographs of like dinners and parties and like things that have happened in my life.
All the events that you throw that are so beautiful.
Thank you.
And intentional.
I should have been a wedding planner.
And then you shoot them all on film.
I know, it's just special. And like film, it just hits different. So I know we're joking about like, don't shoot film. But I actually love that everyone's shooting it. It's just like, it's bringing nostalgia back, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I'm not being a biatch. But I... maybe a little bit. Okay, I have a fun question for you.
Tell me.
If you could only shoot with one film camera for the rest of your life, what camera would you choose? And what film would you shoot?
Okay, Portrait 800, 100%.
Really?
Yes.
It changed
love
you.
800. It changed me. It's more expensive, but it really changed me.
800's so good.
It's just so golden and yummy. A camera though, oh my gosh, that's
I love
hard.
using the word yummy to describe film. It's so yummy.
You get it. You get it. I feel like, oh shoot.
I
think I'm going to have to go with my EOS 3.
Really?
I think.
I thought you were going to pick the contacts for
I know.
sure.
Oh my gosh, did I make a mistake? So I like
You locked it in. It's too late. There's no going back.
I like the contacts because the flash.
I'll take your contacts.
Okay, you can take the contacts and then I'll just shoot in the EOS 3. I don't know. I just love the flash from the contacts, but if I'm shooting natural light, the EOS 3 is just, it feels like medium format. Like I feel like the photos look so similar and it's just so beautiful and I love like it's just crisp. It's yummy.
And do you have your 50 on your EOS 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer the 50 over the 35 on the EOS 3. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
I think it looks so good.
Yeah.
I fully just copied your whole setup on that.
Wow.
But I don't have contacts, okay? So
if you get it, it will change your
Don't
life. You
hate.
will love it. It's amazing.
it's only $1,000 million.
It's worth it though, I promise.
Do you have any like projects coming up? I mean, obviously the book situation.
The books.
You need to figure that out because I will be your first buyer.
Yeah. I need to get my shit together with the books. I need to find, I don't know, if any graphic designers are out there and you want to help a sister out, let me know because
Hit her up. At
I'm
Mama
so
Folk.
the thing that's stopping me is graphic design. Like I'm not good at it, so I don't know what I want it to look like, but if I had it put together, then I can like say like, oh, I like this or I don't.
Wait, literally Chancey. I'm gonna give you her Instagram.
Please. Yeah. Literally
she does all my design stuff.
Oh, cool.
Chancey Cannon, baby. She
That would
is
be
the
great.
shit.
Love that. Love that. Yeah. I need some of that in my life. As far as projects go, we definitely want to host another art show. I would throw one every weekend if I could, but that is exhausting. So I think we're thinking like maybe twice a year. So maybe in the spring we'll
dope.
host another one. Yeah. So please don't book yourself.
Yeah, give me the date as soon as you're planning it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of...
No, actually plan it around my schedule next time, okay?
Okay, send me your calendar. We'll talk after this. I think, too, I don't know how this would actually look, but in my mind, I'm like, this would be fun. But I think it'd be fun to do a mom's meetup with film. So, like, moms coming and bringing their film cameras, if they have them, and just, like, going on, like, a walk or, like, doing something fun like that.
You don't want to go to the beach?
I mean, kind of. I'm always down. I'm always down for the beach.
Like, why did you not just say the beach? Because we all know you're going to be at Shaw's Cove till the day you die.
I'm literally going
as a
there tomorrow.
reason.
Meet me there. I don't know how that would look. It might be easier. I just feel, I don't know, like there's a lot. But projects so far are just the books, and then we'll see.
Mom
what
meetups,
comes.
art
Mom
show.
meetups.
A million different things.
Yeah.
How did everything go with the Latina vibe shoot that you did in LA?
Oh, it was so fun.
Did you guys end up sending that to a magazine?
I have to do that, yes. That reminds me, I have to do that. Yep.
On your to-do list.
On my to-do list.
Sorry.
I move when I'm inspired, so if I'm not, I won't get anything done, and that's not good. It is not okay. So,
you know, actually, on that note, I wanted you to share about how you like kind of navigate the like highs and lows of the like creative energy and when you're like, because you were very encouraging to me recently when I was like, okay, I'm starting to actually feel burnt out, like this is like kind of sucking and I don't know where, like, how does one get inspired? Like, where do I even look for inspiration? And you were just like, just chill, dude, just ride the wave. just
sit in it, just be sad, like just sit in it
so
and accept.
Emo.
I love being emo. Just accept that you are not inspired in the moment. And honestly, as a woman, I think a lot of that has to do with our hormonal cycle. Anytime I'm not feeling inspired, it's because I'm like, about to like start my period or something, and I feel like that has a lot to do with it. Track your cycle, and everything makes sense because when I'm like beaming with ideas, I'm like, I'm ovulating, I'm perfect, I'm confident, I look great. So I think part of it is just sitting in it and not forcing it. If you try to fight it or force it, it's just, you're going to end up more annoyed and discouraged. So just ride the wave, sit in it. Look for other things that like might inspire you that's like not like the typical like I need to shoot. Like I watch a lot. I have a list of like comfort movies that I watch, and those always inspire me.
I love that.
I love film like a lot, like old films. I have certain filmmakers and directors whose style I appreciate and I'm inspired by, so I'll rewatch a lot of movies. Music inspires me a lot depending on my mood and my vibe. I think it's just like there isn't like a specific list of like do this if you're feeling uninspired. I think the only thing you can do is just sit in it and like accept it, and then when you accept it, everything will fall into place. But you can do little things that like, I don't know, will bring some light to that. So
yeah, well, I like the like feel good vibes, like just like do the things that actually make you happy. Like watch Lost in Translation for the 60 millionth time.
Literally watching that tonight with Michelle. She's like, we need to watch a Sophia movie. I'm like, let's go, let's watch this.
It was really good. I watched it.
Oh, you watched it?
I watched it on the plane because you were hyping it up. And also Kyle and Acacia were like, you have to watch this before you go to Japan.
Wasn't it so inspiring?
Yeah, it's pretty sick. I feel like it's like cool the way that it's filmed as like you're just watching their lives. Like there's not like this crazy like love story happening.
Exactly.
Like anything.
It's like a
really,
very simple story.
Yeah. Super just like chill story, and it's like just fun watching them like go do karaoke.
Life. I know. Oh, I love that movie so much.
It's super cool. It got me so stoked for Japan.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have great. I feel like another thing too to feel inspired is like talk to a friend who knows you and supports your creativity, because sometimes the people who know us best will like bring out another perspective or another thing in us that we're not seeing. And so sometimes I'm like, if I'm in a rut, I'm like, I just need to talk to like a friend who knows me, and like I just need some encouragement. I need hype, you know? Yeah. So I feel like that's, go to people you trust, find people you trust.
That is where community comes in, guys.
It's a cycle.
It's a whole cycle.
Like our menstrual cycle.
And that's a wrap.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Dude, this was perfect.
Yay.
This was perfect.
Thank
I feel like
you.
we for sure are going to have you back on again.
That's so sweet.
I was talking to Cambria. I was like, I feel like I need both of you guys and Chloe.
That would be chaotic.
The four of us on a episode would be so rowdy, and I think it would be so good.
We'll have to have wine in it too.
Yes.
So just to make it extra.
100%. Yes. Always wine. Always some alcohol for me, please. Okay, well, cheers, dude.
Cheers.
Kick your boots off.
Kick your boots off.